What is up, everybody? It's 12 Gauge Shotgun Luby, and I'm coming to you live on this Thursday, 6 p.m. What we're talking about? We are talking about MMA Pro Fights live, October 20th in Hallpeg, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we're only about 2 months away from this event. Honestly, we need to get these out, known, and be well. I cannot personally wait for this event. We're going to have a whole bunch of fighters coming fight, especially for, in my opinion, the first time ever lightweight women's match. I'm technically ready and sound. I cannot wait. I'm so out of breath. I'm so astonished for this event. Let's bring in the man that started everything, the CEO and matchmaker of MMA Pro Fights, Mr. Luis Ruiz.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good afternoon, Mr. Ruiz. How are you today?
Good, good. Glad to thank you for giving me the opportunity to get on your show and be able to speak a little bit about our event coming up on October 21st. It's my pleasure to be here, and we're going to be having some exciting fights. And I'm sure that you wanted to actually bring on board the main event, co-main event, and our female fights. One of our first shows, we actually going to have a female fight. It never happened before, but we're here. Let me know.
Yeah, 100%. Mr. Ruiz, obviously you're known in the martial arts around the world. Where did this journey all started for you in the martial arts world?
And that's going back now a couple of good years. Actually started, born and raised in New York, grew up in the South Bronx, and of course you will go to school every day, and you go to school and kids pick on you and beat you up, and it was the bullying years in the 70s and in the 80s, and so I started with the martial arts in Kyokushin and kickboxing by my first instructor, Ron Henson. May he rest in peace. He's gone. He left us more than 23 years ago. From there, I spent the first couple of years with him, 8 years, as a matter of fact, till I was the age of 16. And that took me into actually point fighting and competition. And I actually became a top 10 ranked martial artist in New York City, where I fought some of the top fighters in New York in the point system. And from there, I joined the military and went away traveling with the military. But then that brought the whole, much competition away in North Carolina, down south, overseas in Europe. I come back to New York, and then I was introduced to Lou Neglia, which is actually the promoter of the Ring of Combat. Not knowing that this gentleman, I saw him in 1976 when I was 16 years old at the Garden when he won his first heavyweight title at the Garden, Madison Square Garden, not knowing that this gentleman was going to be my promoter later on in life. That's how everything started with me in New York, and then we started working with different fighters in New York. I actually brought guys to Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, California, a couple of the different states, and we actually composed the first amateur MMA promotion in New York City back in 2013. That was just when they were just getting ready to regulate professional MMA into New York. They had this team that came from Florida, and they actually bought amateur MMA, and then from there we started, and it took place from there. We created our first team for the league that actually promoted the whole thing, which was pretty good. And we created a 6-8-man team, and we took them out, and they travel all over the place. So tell me, that's how it started back in the 70s to the 80s. And then the rest of it was in the 90s with his sisters. He was actually fighting for Lou Neglia the 90s all the way to 2005, where actually I won three different titles, defended them all the time, the main event on most of the shows. But now I really think that a lot of guys that don't really know what's going on. I mean, everyone has a dream. Most of the fighters want to become a champion, but they have to understand what it takes to be a champion. Besides being dedicated and devoted and training skills, you have to understand the whole system, how it works from ranking to rating, um, and most of all, being victorious in most of the shows and the credibility of shows. You know, there's a couple of the shows in New York City. We have Flex Fights, we have ECF. Um, I've actually teamed up with a couple guys from Texas. They will be fighting on our show coming in. And then we have the first female fight, which is Jennifer Huss. She versus Lindsay Valentine from Vamos MMA. That's going to be the only female fight, which is going to be a very interesting fight to see. Then we have Nico Getling, who has a tremendous following. The gentleman is an upcoming future champion, and he has his competitor, his opponent is another tough opponent, and it's going to be good. I mean, you're talking about fights full of fireworks, from technical, from stand up to kicking, groundwork. Because people always want to see someone get hurt. So there'll be some blood there for sure. Busted mouth, maybe busted nose. But you know, I'm looking forward to this. This is happening Saturday, October 21st. Not too far now, right? We're right under a couple of days, or 2 months away. So,
Most
and
definitely, most
like I
definitely.
said, we
Mr.
really
Ruiz,
appreciate
what
you having
led
us
to
on. You know.
most definitely, most definitely. Mr. Ruiz, what led to you starting to run your own fight promotion?
Uh, Well, one of the things that led to, first of all, as a fighter, I'm a fighter, I'm a competitor. So um, they're all kind of different fighters in this planet. Everyone's dreams are to get to the UFC. One of the things that led me to get involved with promoting is, number one, was that I got older and I can't fight no longer. I mean, if you let me fight, I'll probably be fighting at the age of 62, because I am 62, and I'm still I can rock and roll, but unfortunately, that's not going to cut it. So I decided, let's bring the new talent and showcase talent on these promotions, and basically build true warriors. And if you see my logo, it's a gladiator's helmet. I created the logo, I sketched it out, came out to it, because that's what the fighters are. Most of these fighters in the world, MMA, Muay Thai, even in kickboxing, you're a gladiators. Gladiators, they come out and lead the whole fight on the ground, on the battleground. Excuse me. So, you know, we're trying to create true fighters that we can match up. They're not having too much of a problem with the opponents chosen for them, and fighters that are willing to step up and face any fighter that we can put up against them. Because if that's what you're doing and you're training and spending your time, then a real true warrior is who he faces. We can't pick and choose our fighters, and pretty much I'm pretty fair with the fighters, but I give them a chance, one chance maybe. And usually the coaches also get involved with this, so uh, it's up to the coaches, and I'm pretty much I do it all, from making sure paperwork, medicals, everything is done, and the matching up, which is not easy when you have to match up 30 different guys, or let's say 15, because it's 15 fights, it's 15 fighters, and you got to go through one strand of 15 fights, 15 fighters, and then if that doesn't work the first time, you got to get the second strand. So you could go through anywhere from 15 to 30 fighters. And my thing is, I'm not here to kind of create and baby fighters. My thing is to face competition. That's what makes you a true champion. Face the guys that come to really fight. So if you call yourself a fighter, you got to fight.
Now, Mr. Ruiz, obviously, like you just said, there's 15 in this card. What fight excites you the most?
Oh, one of the fighters that really is going to excite me. Two of them are really not only. It's not one, two. It's my main event and my co-main event. Why I say that? Because one is Nico Gatling. He's his last three victories. You know, I feel like they were not competitive enough. They were not challenging to him. The man that he's facing for the next fight is Sandro, which he's a competitor. And both of them, Nico Gatling and Sandro, uh, actually, I can't really pronounce Sandro's last name. I don't want to mention it unless I have it right. But uh, nice gentlemen, both of them. But they in their game, and I know this is going to be a battle. It's going to be a ground battle. It's going to be some good striking, some good grappling, or some good groundwork, some wrestling. It's going to be a tough fight. And what's exciting me is to see and test Nico, which they're both fighting for an ISK title and the promotion title, which is MMA Pro Fights at that weight class. I believe it's 162 to 171 for the ISK requirements. So they're actually fighting for two titles, two belts, the promotion and the ISK belt. Then the other one is the co-main event, which is Randy Sosa. And Randy Sosa actually is facing Mike Freza. Uh, I hope I'm saying Mike's last name, Freza. Correct? Tough kid. He looks tough. I have not met him yet. I talked to his coach, but Randy is a good go-getter. He's a good kicker. He loves to kick. I'm impressed with his kicking skills. But he fights. Bottom line is he fights. Again, he's done great in his first two or three fights that he had in our show, and I gave him an opportunity to fight for a title. So he's facing a good challenger, a good competitor there. So those two fights, I want to see what the fighters that won the first three times in our event could do against these guys who are competition. They're competitive. They come to battle, and that's what excites me. Those two fights are going to be very exciting, and also a couple other fights that I won't mention, but the gentlemen that on the main and the co-main event, they're on this podcast, and you'll get the chance to speak to them, and their people will get to see what's going on. Uh,
For the fans at home who does not know about MMA Pro Fights, what do we expect come October 21st?
the same thing that most of the audience actually experienced on the last event, where the day of the weigh-in, we lost a few fights because some of the fighters didn't get some of the requirements right on time. They did put in, but they didn't. They actually didn't answer from the commission in the ISKA, so they didn't even realize that they had their stuff right in the emails. If not, they could have been fighting that day. But even though we lost a few fights and the show was small with only 6 fights, the audience were on their feet yelling with a lot of energy. And even though it lasted an hour and a half of fighting, people left with a lot of good energy and good feedback. I mean, it turned out to be a great thing that day, even though we had 6 fights. And once again, uh, Sosa, Randy Sosa, opening up the first fight of the night with astonishing leg kicks and breaking his fighter down with his kicks. That was awesome. The audience went crazy with that. And then the rest was history all the way to Nico Gelling, which was the main event. And he wound up actually choking out his opponent in the first round. That was pretty quick, and it left us with it left the whole audience and everyone they wanted to see more. So coming on this show, next show, we're gonna have fireworks with the 15 fights. Out of the 15 fights, I would say 8 to 9 fights are good. All of them are good for the fighters stepping up to get into the cage and fight. But it's always gonna be more exciting and more energy in some of the fights.
Honestly, I cannot wait October 21st. Mr. Ruiz, is there anything you want to say to the fans home watching today?
Yeah. For all you fighters out there, get a chance to hear and see the podcast. Only thing I can say is that next year, uh, a lot of you guys know of the Ring of Combat, which is Lou Neglia. Lou Neglia and me have been talking. He's actually my promoter from back in the 90s for about 6 years, 7 years. And we will be bringing professional MMA into New York. So if you really want to bring your dreams come to a reality into shows that have great credibility and well put together with people who know what they're doing, hey, continue to look us up and be ready for next year because we will have pro and amateur shows next year right here in our backyard in New York City. We might even have it on TV. So we don't know, but everything is in the works right now. So that's all I can say. If you really want to get to one of the biggest leagues, follow, MMA Pro Fights. And of course, a lot of you guys already follow the Ring of Combat, which is Lou Negre once again.
Mr. Ruiz, like always, I'm so excited. Not wait for October 24th. I appreciate your time for hopping on and answering questions. And I hope the fans are excited for October 21st. I am.
My pleasure. My pleasure, Lou. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right, everyone. That was Mr. Luis Ruiz, CEO and Matchmaker MMA Pro Fights. Honestly, he's talking about the upcoming fights. One of the upcoming fights, one of the feature fights, one of the fights very excited about is Lindsay Bloody versus my guest. That's a woman who has not fought in such a very long time. The first time I've seen her compete was back in 2017. Ladies and introduce Jennifer Pretty Beast Horse.
What's up, Gabe?
Jennifer, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Excited to be on here, actually.
So, like I was just telling the fans at home, it's been a while since you've been in the cage. How excited are you to get back in there after all this?
Happy anxiety. Let's do work. I'm super excited. It's in October, and that is my favorite month. It's kill season. I'm just ready to get back. I've been out of the game for a while, but I have been working, training, and honestly, I'm super excited that the fight is for 155. I can't argue that one. I can't.
1-5 female MMA fight. Tell me, to 155, is that something you always dreamed about fighting? Or was that just an opportunity that was just presented to you?
So, it was never an option. It's usually 135, 132, or 145. But 155 is easy peasy. Um, Not much weight to cut. Things flowing right now, and it's just going to be really easy. I'm just really ready to fight. Super ready.
Now,
That's actually all I can think
you're
of.
taking on somebody in Valentine, just like you, a veteran of the game. What is it like to get that type of level of competition and now in her hometown, in her backyard?
Competition. I'll be honest, I don't see it, but I'm hoping that she's training fucking hard as hell. I want a challenge. I want a challenge. I want her to bring it.
So what has changed for you since the last time you've been in the cage?
Um, a lot, honestly. These questions have me just flowing. Currently, I have my own fight team. It's Hoss Nation. I do not fight out of X3 anymore, and this is the best fight camp I've ever had. I will keep it real. I feel like the regimen is perfect. You know, the nutrition, everything I'm actually doing myself. And my wife is actually training to be a coach. So she's really been doing the same, and she will be cornering me, first time ever, but she's had the experience during spar sessions, so on, so on. Really, I'm just recruiting a lot of other people here in Atlanta, and we just train in our backyard. Most gyms, different gyms. Sometimes we'll visit other gyms, just to get a couple other sparring partners and stuff like that. It's been a hell of a journey. It just feels refreshing, and it feels right. For the first time, I feel really good with this fight camp. First time
For
ever.
people who don't know who Jennifer Hoss is, what can they expect come October?
Gore, man, gore. All I see is red, red. I want to do damage.
Well, we were supposed to have
Gore,
Lee
hit my
on the
body,
show.
but ah,
We were supposed to have your opponent Lindsay on the show, but unfortunately she
yeah. Where is she?
worked. Is there anyone you want to say to your future opponent?
Lindsay, please train hard. Do it, man, and bring the A game. I want a challenge.
Well, Miss Jennifer Hoss, honestly, personally, I cannot wait for this matchup, and I appreciate you taking your time at training camp schedule to take this time into this interview. Is there anything you want to tell the fans that's at home?
Please watch. I think we are the third fight of the night. Do not miss that one. I believe fights start at 5. Please watch. Just watch and enjoy it.
Well, fights will be up on MMA Fights Facebook, Instagram page. You can check them when the fights begin. Ms. Jennifer Hoss, once again, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Ladies
Have a
and
good one.
gentlemen, Jennifer Priest Hoss, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
So, everyone, that was Jennifer Hoss. The first time I've seen Jennifer compete was back in 2017 for XFN. I'm very excited to see her return to the. Now, with all that being said, let's get into the co-main event of the evening. Mike Frazier versus Randy Mother Sosa. Randy, unfortunately, cannot do the interview. He's on vacation, but I'll introduce the other half of the co-main event, Frazier. Mike, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, sir. How you doing?
I'm good. You are fighting Randy Sosa for the ISKA New York Downstate Super Middleweight Championship in the co-main event. How excited are you?
I'm very excited. I haven't fought since last August, so I want to get back in there, and yeah, I'm ready.
That's what my first question. You haven't fought in almost a whole year. Is there any nerves or anything getting back in there, or you know that you needed this time off to this fight?
No, I feel ready to fight.
So in that past year, what have you been doing? What's been different from Mike Frazier in the past to now?
All the same, just lots of training, and yeah, I'm ready to get back in there with them.
Now, Mike, you are undefeated prospect. After this fight, is there any future insight plans you want to get into about what's next for you, or mainly focus on this title fight?
Right now, I'm focused on him. I think I'm gonna finish him quickly, and yeah, we'll see what goes. We'll see what goes from there. I hope he shows up too. He has pulled up a lot. So.
Well, I wanted to interview the both of you. Unfortunately, Randy is on vacation. Unfortunately, cannot join the live. For all the fans that's watching at home, is there anything you want to say, especially to your opponent, Randy Sosa?
All I hope is he's gonna show up. He's pulled out a lot, and I'm ready to fight. We're training hard, you know. Yeah, I'm ready for this fight.
I see you in the gym, and I do not want to keep you long. I want you to get ready, prepare for this fight, and see you October 21st
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mike. That was Mike Frieza, everyone. He is the co-main event for the ISKA New York Downstate Super Middleweight Amateur Champion, Kickboxing Champion. I really cannot wait for this matchup. Now, let's get down to business. The main event of the evening for the ISKA Lightweight and the MMA Pro Fight Amateur Lightweight Champion, Nico, that Ninja Getling, versus Sandro, the unit. Sandro, you're going to have to say your last. Not going to lie, I'm not going to mess it up on the podcast. Mr. Getling, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. You there? Sandro? Uh-oh. Hold on. Sandro. Now, Nico, while we're waiting on Sandro, let's talk about it. You're 3-0 in your young amateur career. What is that like getting quick finishes? What is that?
I mean, not really anything I'm not accustomed to. I did sports jiu-jitsu prior to doing MMA. The finishes came the same there as well. I have a amateur wrestling background, same thing. So it's not that new.
Now, you're coming out of school like Vamos MMA. You get trained. You have training partners such like Mike Bazile and shoot, I always forget.
Mike's over there. Sunder Singh's over there. Ryan Jarena comes out of Vamos.
Yeah, Ryan Jarena. Every time I say Ryan, I always think gossip.
It's a good pedigree of martial artists that come out of there. I personally, my father was my instructor, so they're not like my background. I didn't get my stuff from them directly. I've been able to sharpen my tools since being over there and work with some of the guys a couple weeks out of the fights. Yeah.
Now, you're facing Sandro, a competitor who is 5-1 in his amateur career, a man who a lot of people say has tremendous grappling. How do you feel this matchup how do you feel this matchup is set for you, especially for someone with so many quick hits in his first 3 fights?
I think it's a good matchup for sure. I've seen his work. He looks great. Good grappling background. Seems to have strong stand-up as well. All in all, I'm excited for the test at hand. I'm excited to be considered for a title fight, and hopefully it goes my way.
Sandro, how are you? I'm seeing you trying to figure out some things.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, cycling.
Okay, cool. Yeah, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Sandro, you're 5-1 in your career. Now you're fighting for not only the ISKA championship, you're also fighting for the Pro Fights Amateur Lightweight Championship. What is it like that on October 21st? You're not fighting just for one, fighting for 2 belts.
First of all, that's pretty cool. Yeah. That up to prove myself. Very.
Now, Sandro, I know you just last fight against Desmond. If you wanted to end that night, but I see you, the true that you are. You turn around and you accepted a fight against an undefeated prospect in Nico Getling, who 3-0 has finished his opponents in the first round. You know, as you know, in your first couple of fights, you have finished opponents pretty quick too. How do you feel about this matchup with heavy grapplers?
Yo, honestly, like I'm really stoked for it. Listen, if it's gonna push me to be a better martial artist at the end of the day, I'm like super stoked to experience it, go through that, that challenge. I crave a challenge. I'm pretty sure Nico does too. You know, and that's what we're both gonna get out of each other. I think it's a great fight. Honestly, I do.
Now, Nico, Sandro, I've been to both of your fights before. Bring intense crowds. Are we gonna get an intense October 21st?
Oh fuck yeah! It's gonna be very intense. My people don't play it around, man. They come through and throw. I'm sure he has a good following as well. But it's no energy like the energy my people come with.
Yeah, coach. There. It's that's
Honestly, I've been to your fights. You can never get a. I think your coaches could really get a word when all your fans really go super. This is a fight that a lot of people probably would never expect to happen. But like MMA Pro Fights, they did. They got the fight. Both of you really accepted the fight. Once again, not for one belt, but you're fighting for two belts. Nico, the question is to you: is that any pressure going for two belts, or is that more motivation?
Nah, I mean, Sandro's motivation enough. His record's motivation enough. Seeing his work is motivation enough. The belts are icing on the cake, you know. With the last opponents I've had, I've done the shit talking route. I'm not there anymore. My headspace is totally on getting the job done, and that's it. He's gonna get me to put my best foot forward. I hope he knows and respects the fact that I'm telling him I'm going to put my best foot forward.
and
I know that Luis said it's going to be a challenge. I know he told him it's going to be a challenge. I hope that he's preparing to make me look average, because that's what I'm gonna try and do to him. And that's no disrespect. That's love at the end of the day for me. He said he want to be better. I want to be better. I want to be the best. So I hope he's prepared to make me that.
You both are two tremendous grapplers. Honestly, I personally wait for this main event. This main event could be anywhere else, but it's happened on MMA. It's live October 21st. Sandro, Nico, is there anything you want to say to your fans or your friends, your fans, family, or at home?
come enjoy the show. That's it. Come enjoy the show.
Best wishes to my opponent and his camp. Praying for no injuries on his side, praying for none on my side. To my fans, it's all love and respect. This man's been a class act the whole time. Hopefully we can keep it that way leading into the fight. I know we got to sell tickets, but our records speak for itself. Our skill set speak for itself. Show up if you want to see the fireworks.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's
this
go.
is the main event for MMA Pro Fights, live October 21st in New York for the ISKA and the MMA Pro Fights Amateur Lightweight Champion, Sandro versus Nico. You do not want to miss it. Gentlemen, I thank both of you for your time tonight. I know y'all both got a long way to go in a good training camp. I can't wait to see you on fight night.
But
I appreciate both of you. Thank you. Have a good one. We went through not only the women's match, we went through one of the participants of the co-main event, and both gentlemen of the for MMA Pro Fights live October 1st. You don't want to mix it. Ticket sales soon. Hit up MMA Pro Fights. Hit up Nico. Hit up Lindsay. Hit up Jessica. Hit up Mike Fraser. Hit up man. All fights will be released. Even if you're not a fan of any of these guys, if you just want to see guys really go in, guys and women go in there and get all they got. MMA Pro Fights, October 21st. You not want to miss it. Everyone, this is Real Talk. This is Real Talk with Gage Luby, live on the stream. I can't wait to see y'all. Hopefully see y'all October 21st. Us.